Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, July 21st, and I'm your host, Brian Boudreau. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. This week on Norwood News, the Farmers Market celebrates Kids Day. We check in with Jason Adams about the bid opening process for the new civic locker rooms. But first, the Norwood Police Department responded to a call on Tuesday night at Norwest Woods of reports that a man was armed with a gun. Chief Brooks has all the details.
Hi, this is Chief Bill Brooks of the Norwood Police Department, and we're talking to you Wednesday morning. I want to talk a little bit about an incident that occurred largely at Norwest Woods on Tuesday night. So the event began in the early evening hours when we got a report that a man had gone to a residence on Hatton Street hoping to visit an acquaintance. There was some sort of conflict there, and in any event, it was reported to us that the man drew a handgun and pointed it at the peephole of the home where he was. People had not answered the door for him. This was reported to us and the subject fled. Now the 4 to 12 shift used the services of a canine from the Quincy Police Department to track that subject and also to look for a very unique looking vehicle. They found the vehicle at Norwest Woods in the 100 block. And as they came upon the vehicle, they also realized that that vehicle was parked right in front of the apartment of one of the subject's relatives. So they believed that he was inside, and when they looked at the apartment, they could see some movement inside. What they didn't realize is that the subject had gone there, but then had fled just before around the earlier time of their arrival. So he was no longer there, but they didn't know that. They attempted to make contact with the people inside the apartment. They could see people moving around. They could see an adult male inside who actually at one point in time came to the window and he would not come out. So believing that a man with a firearm had gone inside and needing to arrest him and noting that that was a very dangerous situation, they called for Metro SWAT. Now by this time I was at the scene. Lieutenant Flanagan, who oversees detectives, was at the scene. Lieutenant Benedetti, who was our operations commander, had come in. We had all been off duty, but we had all come in upon learning of this event. And we began to manage that. Lieutenant Flanagan and his detectives began to prepare a search warrant affidavit to search that vehicle and to search the apartment for the firearm involved in this event. And so that was underway. Lieutenant Benedetti organized the arrival of Metro SWAT. And they did a number of things. They also attempted to what's called a loud hail. In other words, they used PA system just like we had done in an attempt to call him out. And again, the person did not come out, at least not initially. And then they set up 2 armored vehicles which would allow SWAT members to roll in closer to the apartment, and if there was gunfire, the gunfire would not injure the officers inside. And that's what these so-called Bearcats are for, to get the officers close to the scene so that they can effect a rescue and so that they won't be shot. During that whole process, the man who had been inside came out. Come to find out, he was not our wanted subject, but rather his brother-in-law. So he came out. There were also a couple of children inside. We were not convinced that the subject was not inside the apartment, so we went ahead and cleared that apartment. And that was done initially through the help of a state police robotic dog, which is capable of going in and actually searching the apartment. It has a camera and a microphone on it. We can hear what's going on and we can see where the dog is going. That didn't yield anything. They then used live canines to go in and search that apartment. That was followed by a team of SWAT operators that went in and searched, and they could determine that there was no one inside that apartment. Eventually the search warrants were executed. In the subject's vehicle, we found a firearm, and we seized that firearm. That was done pursuant to the search warrant obtained by Detective Green at the district court. And so as a result of the initial assault on Hatton Street and then the discovery of the firearm in his vehicle, that made him a wanted subject. And he is facing charges of the assault with a dangerous weapon and the unlawful possession of a firearm, and then other firearms charges that accompany that. It all ended peacefully. I want to thank the people at the Norwest Woods apartment area who, many of them came out. We probably had maybe 100 or so spectators who were watching this. At some point halfway through, we had to move them back because if this subject had come out and there was gunfire, they would have been in the line. We couldn't have that. We did push them back, and when it was all over, I went over and I talked to all of the residents. I talked to them a couple of times during the event anyway, but in the end, we told them the whole story, why we were there, the tactics we used, and explained everything we did. They were really great to deal with, very receptive and friendly towards us, and I thank them for their patience and apologize for the disruption. But the important thing is it concluded peacefully. No one was hurt. Metro SWAT did an amazing job as they always do. I also want to thank the Massachusetts State Police and the surrounding agencies that helped us with this.
It was all about the kids this week at the Norwood Farmers Market. Assistant Recreation Director Sam White explains more.
So we're here today for Kids Day at the Farmers Market. We have our debut of our spin art going on with some inflatables and some different games for the kids. This is our first year, and hopefully not our last, and not our last time here this year as well. Seems like we had a lot of people come out, wanted to see the different events that we had to offer for today, and we're just thankful that we had a great day to do it. So we're in the thick of the summer right now, looking forward to the fall and winter, working on our guide, which will be out in the next few weeks, with the registration date of Saturday, August 19th at 8 a.m.
Coming up on Norwood News, Chief Brooks returns with a special announcement about National Night Out, and we meet Christina and Graham Stetson from Modern Eyes.
I'm author Mitchell Zuckoff, and as part of the Morrill Memorial Library Stuart Plumer Author Series, I recently discussed my career as a journalist and an author, and also my latest book, The Secret Gate. The Stuart Plumer Author Series is being presented in memory of avid reader Stuart Plumer, who served on the Board of Trustees of the Morrill Memorial Library for 33 years. This is an ongoing series that will provide you with the opportunity to meet award-winning and best-selling authors as they discuss their latest books.
On Monday, July 24th at 6:30 p.m., best-selling novelist Anita Diamond will be in conversation with Library Director Clayton Cheever discussing her body of literary work. Registration is required for this in-person event. Sign up at norwoodlibrary.org or call the reference desk at 781-769-0200, extension 2.
Following the process of the Civic Locker Room renovation, NCM covered the bid opening last week where Procurement Officer Jason Adams opened the bids.
So the bid today was for the Civic Center Women's Locker Room renovations. We previously had a pre-bid meeting that was also televised and documented for the people who are curious about the bidding process. So today was the beginning of the next step. So it was the receival of bids by the vendors who are interested in the project. They submitted pricing along with documentation about their qualifications. So we will review that. We will send it to the architect team that has been helping run the show on this. And we will also send it over to Recreation Department so they'll have an idea as to what's coming down the pike. And overall, smooth process. That's how we like it to be. And we will issue an award letter to who we determine we want to work with, which is generally based on who has the lowest and responsible and responsive bid.
NCM will continue to follow this process as the bid is awarded and construction begins. Chief Brooks talks about this year's annual Norwood Night Out happening on August 1st with lots of fun activities for kids and families.
Hi, this is Chief Bill Brooks of the Norwood Police Department, and I just wanted to talk to everyone briefly about National Night Out, which is an event that we have coming up right here on Town Common the evening of August 1st. Now, National Night Out goes back to 1984. It's a national event where police departments come out into their communities to interact with folks, just to answer questions and just to chat with people. We've been doing it for 2 years. This will be our third year. Lieutenant Dave Benton sets it up, and we just have a lot of officers come out to the Common. Your kids will be able to sit in a radio car. We're going to have a SWAT Bearcat, which is an armored vehicle that will be here. We're going to have Harley-Davidson motorcycles. There'll be a dunk tank. We're going to have free pizza and hot dogs for families that come. You can spend as much time as you like. It's August 1st, which is a Tuesday. It's always the first Tuesday of August, National Night Out. and it's going to run from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. But you can just come here and relax. We've enjoyed good weather the last couple of years, and we're hoping for that again this year. The officers get excited about it, particularly because they have the chance to chat with people, and we're going to talk about recruiting, how to come on the Norwood Police Department, if that's what interests you, and what we do and how we do it and how we do our work, and safety just around the town of Norwood. So again, Tuesday night, August 1st, Town Common, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. I hope to see you there.
Christina and Graham Stetson are two very passionate business owners here in Norwood. Their store, Modernize, is looking to modernize the way our eyes are looked after by keeping what works and utilizing new technology that is available today.
Modernize is a technology-forward, medically focused practice. So we're meant to bring as much care and attention individually to patients, but also leveraging technology to allow us to make these visits more efficient for everyone involved, because the medical system is complicated enough. Let's use technology to our advantage, shall we? I would say the reason that we chose this location and why we were so excited about it was the historic nature of the building. It was built in 1899. Originally was a general store, actually the whole block. And since then it has had a number of iterations, including banks, and it was actually a jewelry store a couple of times over. And it was just a lovely location. But a lot of the hidden charm in the building was hidden behind the walls, drywall and drop ceilings. So when we came into this space and we peeked up underneath that, those drop ceiling tiles, and we saw the tin ceiling, the original tin ceiling, I just knew it was the right spot for us. It kind of paid homage to the history and beauty and charm of the town that we loved, and it also brought that charm back to the neighborhood because they could see what we saw in the building originally. So the process from beginning to end took about a year to put together. I mean, it was kind of an empty shell. Like I said, it was a jewelry store before, so it did take some effort to get it to this point. But it was a battle of love, I'll say. We just kept fighting really hard to keep all of those historic elements that really spoke to the space, and in some ways really kind of aligned with our own personal philosophy of keep what is good, what is old but good, and just bring it up to date as much as possible and modernize. It's all about bringing forth what is good and keeping that, and just making sure that it was something that was presented well and really cared for.
One of the many people behind Modernize's modernization is Echelon Builders owner Lenny Gimmelfarb.
It's an awesome space and an awesome town, and just the history of the building and what it looked like before, there was a lot of potential to make it really something special. It definitely changed as we went along because we just kept finding new areas to open up that had little presence and little secrets for us. Like we found, the paneled tin walls with the beadboard up in the front. We found a bunch of amazing brickwork in the back, found a lot of cool ceiling details that we were just able to see little peaks of, and we kind of decided to go for it and see what could happen, and we found something really, really special. Small business is everything. It's like the backbone of America, of people, and of communities. So when you have small businesses that are truly meant, and like their mission statement is to succeed by providing a service to the community, like that's a win-win. So to have more and more businesses come in that do the right thing, that want to provide the service, that's a game-winning combination, and you're not gonna beat that. You can't fake it either. So that's, I think, is huge, especially for a town like Norwood.
While Christina handles all the marketing for the company, Graham Stetson is the doctor of optometry at Modernize.
My husband is actually the optometrist in the practice, and he was an optician for many years before, and so he has all of the retail background as well. When he graduated from his residency, he was very excited to start seeing patients and bring some of that expertise into the field, but he felt that a lot of times when you're in these larger practices, they get kind of lost in the cracks. So by opening our own practice, Modernize, we've been able to bring in all of the new information that he has from his recent training, as well as all of the latest technology that he had been learning about in his training, and really provide the best care to patients right where we live, specifically in Norwood. We actually are residents of Norwood, so it felt like the right place to open because these are our neighbors and our friends and our family, and we want to be able to provide those services directly to them.
I do think that there's a dearth of high quality comprehensive medical eye care that's accessible and efficient. And so, I wanted to help out my local community. It didn't hurt that I wasn't commuting a half hour or an hour to where I was working, but I wanted to contribute to this community. And I had a goal for the kind of eye care that I wanted to provide that's, both convenient and comprehensive, as well as being accessible to, many segments of the population. We're working with the Norwood Public Schools, we're working with the Senior Center, so we're trying to integrate with the community. We're members of the local Chamber of Commerce, so, we're trying to do all the right things to integrate with the Norwood Central Business Association. And so, it's really just helping the community. With the school specifically, we're working on a program where if a child fails the school screening, then they get referred to us, whether they have insurance or not. We're working with a program called VSP Eyes of Hope to provide exams and eyewear to people without insurances. And so, we're trying to make sure our kids get the best education they can, and they need their eyes for that.
Between the community feel and welcoming neighbors, Norwood seems to be a great fit for modern eyes so far.
Norwood is this beautiful little town in the middle of Massachusetts that just has this great feel. It's friendly, it's warm. We chose it for ourselves to live here, but we also love the community aspect. They have a lot of events during the year. They are very community focused. And in fact, they won't be called a city. It's always going to be a town because they just love the neighborhood feel. And I have to say, I agree with them. It's really a lovely place to spend an afternoon, just walking around and shopping as well as anything else. And I just feel like there's definitely, a friendly vibe in this town that we completely appreciate and want to continue. I had so much support from the community. The town specifically was amazing in bringing in all the expertise, guiding us through the process. Really just hearing from all of our neighbors and feeling the love and support from them has really made all the difference.
The town itself has been extremely supportive throughout the whole construction process, and the local businesses and the local residents have been extremely encouraging and have been, a great source of confidence that, we were actually going to get this thing done. There were a few days, weeks where it was a little bleak, but the constant encouragement from the residents and the local businesses has been great.
In the future, I'd like to see us be a very busy practice, but I want to make sure that we continue to see the individual side of patients, that they really feel that personal communication with us. They feel connected to us and not, just a store that you walk through, but a practice that really cares about you and cares about your family. So we want to see that happen. At the moment, we have one doctor who will be seeing patients, but we have actually planned expansion to allow us to bring, more care to the area. I know that there's a limited access because of a number of providers that have left the area, so we want to make sure that we are ready to, step into that gap and provide care for all who need it. There are a number of ways that they can get an appointment with us. One is just a call. You can also walk through the door. We're actually seeing walk-ins at the moment because we want people to feel welcomed. We can also, take appointments through the website. There's a bot on the website that you can talk to in the middle of the night if you want to find out common eye conditions, and you can also schedule an appointment with the doctor. So we have a number of channels. We're so excited to be here, and we're just so excited to see people and to have them come and experience what we know we can provide for them, and that's the best care.
The Board of Selectmen held 3 public hearings Tuesday night. All 3 hearings were for all alcohol beverage licenses. However, the Selectmen only have 1 license left to issue out to a business. The 3 applicants competing for the license were Hometown Arcade of 61 Endicott Street, Tipico Civitarano 2 of 514 Washington Street, and Perito Empanada 2 of 111 Lenox Street. After hearing all 3 applicants, the board had in-depth discussions on which applicant should be granted the license.
I'm just a little hesitant to approve any of them, being that this is the last one, and that if we have an applicant that is more like the ones that we have approved in the past, where it's a large restaurateur or whatever, we will not have the capacity to issue a license to an applicant who is more similar to the ones that we've approved in our previous 29 license approvals. But I will yield to the will of the board on the motion.
Typically, those all alcohol licenses are real kind of economic drivers, and we've had to make difficult decisions in the past. This is a difficult decision as well, because there are 3 applicants and we want to see those businesses do well. But at the same time, if we hand this out and we don't feel good about it, or if it doesn't work out, we're kind of handcuffing ourselves. I think in terms of the individual locations, the size of them is difficult for me to award one of these to a restaurant that only has a seating capacity of, is it 16, I believe?
I've been on 16.
And again, it's not the fault of the restaurant, that's where they're operating, that's the size of it. In terms of the arcade, they've come in and they've done well. The business is up and running, it's a very new business. It's a new type of business to Norwood. Potentially, a wine and beer license would be more appropriate. There aren't any available, so it's very, I understand why they're going for this one, because it's the one that's available. So,
ultimately, all 3 licenses were unanimously denied. The Board of Selectmen will meet again on July 25th. The school committee also met on Tuesday night. With a packed agenda, the meeting kicked off with a public forum. There were 3 registered speakers that all expressed their concerns and reasoning for keeping the new middle school's name as Coakley Middle School. Norwood resident Sarah Quinn explained why she believes it is so important for the school committee to consider keeping the name of the middle school as is.
Thanks for hosting me again. So I just wanted to provide an update from my last appearance when I shared with you the petitions that had been circulating around keeping the name as the Coakley Middle School. We are now up to about 1,350 signatures, and we continue to gather signatures almost daily, and we will provide you with the final count before your vote. And I just had a few thoughts after I left last time, since I hadn't written anything down. I, of course, thought of all the things I meant to say in the middle of the night. I want to start by saying I'm proud to live in a town that acknowledges and remembers members, whether it's a dedicated public servant like Walter Dempsey, I'm looking at the beautiful bandstand, or enthusiastic greeters who wanted to memorialize their daughter with a gift like the library, or passionate educators like Mr. Oldham, right? And even our favorite patriot, Aaron Giles. We certainly can, look around the corners of this town and see that we've remembered many who have come before us and done well. More recently, about 20 years ago, the Norwood School Committee voted to name 2 buildings after 2 wonderful superintendents who had really led our schools for years and certainly shaped my education here, Mr. Savage and Dr. Coakley. I find it disrespectful to consider naming the new middle school anything other than Coakley, particularly as I campaigned very hard for a new Coakley Middle School, and at no point was renaming the building discussed. I do believe that there are many worthy people that we could name a new facility for. Mr. Diggs, certainly, Mr. Yusevich, Mrs. Donahue. There are many, many leaders in our community that have shaped both our town politics and education and culture. But I don't believe any one of those people would want to contribute to addition in terms of subtraction. And that's what we'd be doing here. Thank you.
Eli Norris presented the food report for the upcoming school year. Ms. Hampton updated the committee on the Oldham Playground donation, which was approved, and Dr. Thompson updated the board on the summer programs happening in the schools this summer. The committee will meet again on August 10th. Congratulations to the Norwood 11 and under summer ball team who won the Stoughton tournament this past weekend, defeating Wellesley in the finals 5-4. A special shout out to Christine Letourneau for the update. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.